God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her from the light, from the something light above. You know these words. I tell you, it's a great song. From the mountain. So, by the Sword of Jones show. I'm he. It is the evening edition. Baby. How y'all is? Y'all doing fine? Good. I want to talk tonight, in short, because I'm dealing with a little thing. My throat is in pain, and so it's affecting everything over here. But I'm going to talk about the State of the Union address. I applaud you, Doctor. He's not a doctor. Reverend? No, not a reverend. A philosopher? No, he's not a philosopher. A businessman. I applaud you, businessman and President 45 of these United States, Donald J. Trump, for giving what you supposed to give is a State of the Union address. Every president must give their duties as it pertains to the Constitution of the United States. For those of you who decided you did not want to watch it, I want to talk to you for a minute. I have a suit on. I watched the presidential State of the Union address with a suit on. Why? I've been watching these since 1975. Yes. I'm still a young man, baby. But I've been watching these since the 70s. I've been interested in politics, especially as it pertains to political science, because I wanted to know what was going on around me, and I'm a historian of sorts. And I remember watching my father. He would dress up for everything. He wore a suit just to come downstairs and have dinner with the family. The people of old, whether the oldest, that silent generation, those of World War I and II, to the baby boomers, what they would do is they would go and there was a fireside chat by President Roosevelt. There was no TV in many of these homes. It was a radio, and they dressed up to listen to the radio. Fibber McGee, Molly G, and the Long Ranger, Amos and Andy, Burns and Allen, you name it. So out of respect, I put my suit on because there was an episode of All in the Family where Mr. Bunker decided to write a letter to, at that time, I think it was Richard Nixon. And he dressed up in a suit to write his letter. And he and the meathead was fighting over the letters because the meathead was going to write a letter too. And they all dressed up to take their letters down to the mailbox. That was that day and time. We have disrespected and dishonored the office, including the man in the office. We have disrespected and dishonored the office. So I decided not to do that. So I put a suit on for old time's sake. Whether I agree with the man in office or not, one thing I have discovered is that many people, well, I saw on Facebook last year, year before last, President Obama's last address to Congress, to someone in Chicago. He was getting ready to leave, and it was like a state of, I'm out of here. And do you not know that many people, especially African Americans, was watching that instead of watching this particular address today? Here's my response to that. I think y'all crazy. I do. I think you're crazy. Here's why. I would not want to be in a house and stuff is going on in my house and I'm got my eyes closed to it, or I'm looking out the window at my neighbor's house to see how my neighbor's wife is cooking the chicken, and my wife over here is poisoning my chicken. I think it was derelict duty, first of all, to decide not to watch the address because it's the state of your union, yours. And it don't matter who in the office, he was giving the state of your address, and then what's going to happen is y'all going to be asking a bunch of questions on what did the president say. And I figured y'all don't tell nobody nothing. Tell them you should have watched it. Including President Barack Obama's 2016 address, there has been a total of 94 in-person annual message State of the Union addresses. 94 in person. Since President Woodrow Wilson's 1913 address, there have been a total of 82 in-person addresses. 1945, President Roosevelt's address was read. He wasn't there. A joint session of the House and Senate, and since the president did not deliver the address, it does not count as an in-person address. All right? And the formal basis for this State of the Union address is in the Constitution of the United States. The president shall, from time to time, give Congress information of the State of the Union and recommend to their consideration such measures as he shall judge necessary and expedient. This is in the Constitution, Article 2, Section 3, Clause 1. You should read the Constitution one day. It's going to bless you or upset you. One of the two. The constitutionally mandated president address has gone through a few changes. It was not always called the State of the Union. It was known as the annual message in the late 1700s. And then it was right during the time of 1940s, 1946, it got a name change to the State of the Union message. And then in 1947, it became the State of the Union address. All right? That's your history on that. Okay? But I want to see if I can figure out something as it pertains to what Donald Trump said tonight. This is his 376th day. Okay? I know, Melissa, I dressed up. I don't play. This is his 376th day as president. His speech was long. This is the third longest speech in American history as it pertains to the State of the Union. Bill Clinton, I remember watching his address. I think he broke the record twice. So, this is the third. He gave his address, and I waited for the Democratic response. And in the typical Democratic response is to disagree with most of what the president had to say. Representative Joe Kennedy III delivered the Democratic response out of Fall River, Massachusetts. And he's sitting in Barney Frank's old seat. Joe Kennedy is the grandson of Bobby Kennedy. And his last words were quite inspirational. He said, have faith. Have faith. The state of our union is hopeful, it is resilient, and it is enduring. And I thought those were very kind and hopeful words. Yes. So, here's my opinion on the address. Carolyn, no, we didn't have church tonight. Not at all. I dressed up for this is a tradition in the Sir Walter Jones house. You dress up for the State of the Union address. Y'all should try that. Donald Trump gave the address to unify. You see, when you're the person dividing the nation, you can't be the person uniting the nation. Does that make any sense to anybody out here? Anybody? Okay? I'll say it again. If you are the divisive part, if you're the one that's causing the division, how could you possibly be the one to unite? It's like, I'm not going to go there. There are a few people who boycotted, and this is the largest number of people who have ever boycotted the State of the Union address. The previous largest boycott of the president's address was in 1971 by all 12 African Americans in the House. The members of the newly founded, it's called the Congressional Black Caucus. Brand new, 1971, all of them decided not to show up. Some of these names are names you recognize today. The members wrote to President Nixon for a meeting, which they said he refused, and in turn, they skipped his address. Sure did. Those members are all Democrats. Representative William Clay of Missouri, John Conyers, y'all know him, and Charles Diggs of Michigan, Representative Shirley Chisholm, remember her, and Charles Rangel of New York, remember him? Yeah. Representative Louis Stokes of Ohio, Representative Augustus F. Hawkins, and Ronald V. Dellums of California, remember? Representative Robert Nix of Pennsylvania, Representative George W. Collins, and Ralph H. Metcalf, remember Metcalf, those of you who live in Chicago, Illinois, and Representative Perrin J. Mitchell of Maryland. They all decided not to attend. Yeah, bad Wi-Fi. I'm sure it's bad Wi-Fi on my end. But here are the ones who decided not to make this address. John Lewis of Georgia, Earl Blumenauer of Oregon, Gregory Meeks wasn't there of New York, Frederica Wilson of Florida, nope. Let's see, Auntie Maxine Waters of California, nope. Barbara Lee of California, nope. Juan Vargas of California, nope. Pramila Jayapal of Washington, nope. Albia Cyrus or Sierras, I can't even pronounce it, New Jersey, nope. Danny Davis right here in Chicago, nope. Jan Schakowsky here in Chicago, nope. Pastor Bobby Rush, Chicago, nope. Stephen Cohen, Tennessee, no. So this was the largest that we have seen. Let me say something here. That's when folks stood up for something together, Raymond Sweets. Great presidents, they create a movie. From the time they raise their right hands and swear to protect and serve the Constitution of the United States, okay? Then they begin to create this movie. And that movie includes us. It includes normal people. It includes the American people. Ever since, I guess you can say, since President Eisenhower until President Barack Obama, these men created this movie with the hopes that there be a legacy that they could hold on to. Donald Trump movie is not a movie, it's more of a reality TV show. And that's what we've been seeing today. And unfortunately, what's been happening is we've been focusing so much on Donald Trump and his characteristics, his animated ways, that we have forgotten many of the breaking news that has happened either today, yesterday, last year. We've forgotten those who have been downtrodden and uprooted. Homes have burned up in the California fires. Those in Puerto Rico, those in Houston, Texas, those up and down Florida and the Florida Keys, these hurricanes and tornadoes. We've forgotten about it. We forgot about the worst shooting in America done by an American there in Las Vegas. We don't talk about it, even though it was not that long ago. Today, an actor from the TV show called Glee committed suicide because I think they found some child pornography on his computer and yada yada, and he killed himself today. Nobody said nothing about it in the news today. All right, a helicopter crashed into a home in California and killed 3 people. None of y'all know about any of that stuff. And I think this is a sad day that we're living in, when a lot of the things that are breaking news that will emotionally affect America is hidden in the politics or the dysfunction of one man who today got up there to unite people, but because of his legacy of division, he can't. It's impossible. So let's talk about the economy. The economy was a gift from Barack Obama, I will say, and I didn't vote for him, but I will say this economy is a gift from Barack Obama and Janet Yellen, all right? And Donald Trump usually talks about the economy, but he overstates it. He overrates it when he talks about it. Last February, Donald Trump made an address to the Congress, the joint Congress, on how America is suffering and how we are in some type of carnage, all right? And he said 94 million people are not in the labor force. That's what he said 1 year ago. Well, today, 95.5 million are not in the labor force. He said 43 million people last year was on food stamps, and he would change all of that. Today, 43 million people pretty much are on food stamps. That $800 billion trade deficit he beat Obama over the head with, well, it's only gotten larger in his administration. There are 35 new bilateral or new trade agreements in the world. 35 new of them. And guess what? The United States is a part of only one. The GDP is 2.5%. It's good. That's a good number. The GDP is 2.5%. Better than what President Barack Obama saw. But Donald Trump promised us 4, 5, and 6%. We're still at 2. Canada and Mexico is better. Yeah. So he gave his address, and he built the emotion off of, he used immigration, and he used this black family distraught and the death of their child through this group, this gang called MS-13. We've known about them for many years. And he used the sadness of them. Many presidents bring in the sorrow stories. How would they not do that? People want their stories to be heard, and so you can't blame the family from showing up, but it was so devastating to them that their father started crying first, and then it just dripped down that road. And the more he talked, the more devastating it got. I don't think it's moral to do that. No president should ever do that. 5 Democrats were due to respond tonight. The sad thing that I see was a missed opportunity for women to have a voice, because they did not select not one woman to give a response this year. In the climate of the Me Too climate, not one woman, all the women that we see in Congress, not one woman they selected, since they're using 5 Democrats, not one. Missed opportunity. The person they should have used was Tammy Duckworth here in Chicago. She is a sitting senator. She is a disabled veteran. And she is the first pregnant senator in American history. She will be giving birth to a child, and this has never happened. This would have been an amazing opportunity for America to see. But the person who gave the State of the Union address, you're saying here another shooting just happened in a school in Kentucky last week, Carolyn says. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Raymond says, if you know about then others also know about it. Honestly, who decides what's really news on the daily? Yeah. The AP decides on the news. The Associated Press are the ones who decide what's going to be the news today. That's I'm giving you that free of charge. Okay? So how would I rate the State of the Union address? If I was a Republican, I would say A plus. If I was a Democrat, I would say D minus. I'm neither. I am a conservative. I'm an independent man. And sometimes President Barack Obama said some good things, and I applauded him. And I said, you know, I'm going to support that bill. And then he decided to say and do some immoral things, push some immoral things, and I said, I'm not going to support that bill nor support that president. I can't do it because of my religious stance. I won't do it. President Trump mostly say things that goes against my morals. He says things that represent supposedly the ones who put him in office, mostly the white evangelicals. And he tries to cater to them, banter or what have you. But most of that is coming from his vice president, Pence. Donald Trump don't really care about the evangelicals because he didn't care about them before he became president. He don't really care about veterans. No. He only started talking about veterans once he started running for the presidency of the United States. He don't care about women. He only started caring about them when he started running for the president. He don't care about African Americans. He only started caring about them when he started running for president of the United States. You understand what I'm saying? He didn't care about infrastructure. He didn't care about immigration. He didn't care about none of that stuff. He only started talking about that stuff when he started to run for president. The immigration situation, he was mute on it because he's got hotels all around the country and around the world, and the cheap labor of immigrants is important, and he will ship those same people he called in countries and continents. Those same people that he cursed are the same ones he would ship over here to work in his hotels and in his vineyards. He didn't care about immigration as a businessman. But when you start running with the pigeons or the buzzards or the eagles, depending on, birds of a feather, then when in Rome you have to do what the Romans do, whether you have a heart for it or not. And the scripture talks about how these Pharisees were like Trump and many of those who are in office right now, that they presented laws to the people, but they really didn't know what the laws were. They used vain janglings, and they just made big words, and they stood on the steps of the temple, and they began to use big words. They didn't really know what the meaning were, and Jesus had to help the people out by saying, "Don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing." And so it's easy to do the that I think it's the Jim Jones effect. And many of the occultic leaders use this same tactic. It's the Pied Piper tactic. And so you've got to give back to the people who put you in office. And we're living in another Ronald Reagan era, because he also pandered to the same people who got him into office were white evangelicals. The moral majority. Yeah. Thomas Road Baptist Church. Yeah. And that man right there, and his son right now is over at university now, rallied and got him in office. And Ronald Reagan promised he would do this and do that for the evangelicals. And for the 8 years that Ronald Reagan served, he didn't do any of it. And it was too late, because they rallied around and got all these white evangelicals to vote who never voted before, who never even registered before. And there they are. Jerry, what is his name? Jerry, what's his last name? And so here we are. Jerry Falwell. And here we are. History is repeating itself. Now, here's the rope-a-dope. For 8 years of President Barack Obama, racism reared its evil head, and we begin to hear people on that side, many of the white evangelicals and Fox News and conservatives and Republicans, they hated the man. Many of us thought they just hated him because he was black, and I believe many of them did, because there is a sourpuss. There was the spirit of bigotry and racism and xenophobia in America, especially in the Southern Belt, and they just can't help themselves. And I heard Oprah Winfrey say one day, they just going to have to die. You can't heal them, except God do it. He's just going to have to kill them. They're going to die of old age or some kind of disease and die because there's no help for them. So there are people down there who they're just racist, and it's in their blood. It's like a cancer cell, and it grows and grows and grows, and then it kills them. So President Barack Obama went through that. No matter what good he did, when he made his first presidential State of the Union, someone in the audience said, "You lie." And when we heard that, we realized this is going to be the climate for the next 8 years. And it was. And these people came together and says, our job as Speaker of the House and this Congress is to make sure that he failed. That was their job. Yes. And if it wasn't for the privilege of executive privilege and things like that, he wouldn't have had a rat's chance in office. Now, why is this possible? It's possible that someone like that could be overtaken by Congress and the senators and whatever because of you. You see, you voted for the President of the United States, but you don't seem to realize, those of you African Americans who hate to watch the news, hate to watch the State of the Union, you don't like politics whatsoever, so you don't know how it works, so you wonder why your taxes are so high. And you wonder why something happened in your neighborhood because you hate being informed. So let me help you Negroes out. When you vote for your local guy, that makes the difference. We're in midterm right now, people. You're like, what's that? I need you to Google it, okay? We're in midterm right now, and here's your opportunity to make a difference. And if you want to shut the mouth of the president, here's your chance. You ain't got to wait till 2020. You thought you had to wait then? No. You don't even need to impeach a man. Here's what you do. You vote right now. Yep, that's right. It's coming up again. Another kind of vote. No, not for the president. Now, if you had to ask me that means you dumber than I thought you were. Yeah, midterm. We're voting for senators, representatives. Some of y'all's governors are up for election. Some of y'all got some mayors up for election, okay? But those people who sit up in that rotunda are the ones who held the hand or the anatomy of Barack Obama for 8 years. We ain't nothing come through here. Yeah. So those of you on the other side, the Democratic side, here's your opportunity. If you're a Democrat and the Republican got the House, the Representatives, and the Oval Office, they thing interrupted. Let me see now. Y'all, I got interrupted. Sorry, it must be the Wi-Fi. Okay, so they're overrunning the House. What are you saying here? Somebody's typing. It's still a good old boys club. Amen. Agape says that he talked about the Americans the white man stole from people of color. Trump showed who he is, the same old white master, expecting us to say, yes, sir, master. Boy, Agape, you something else. Okay? All right? So here's your opportunity. If you go down there and vote, you can vote in your representatives, and you don't have to be crying like you've been crying for this past year. You see, this is all a cute little chess game. And y'all, we are almost like pawns in this game. All right. Here's the shocking part of this game. God is the one who's moving the players around. Yeah, yes. Yeah. God is moving the players around, and we keep forgetting that part. You're like, huh? Yeah. When you read the book of Revelation, you'll see that God got his hand in all of it. All of it. Including raising up the enemy. Including allowing Satan to come down on the earth and create havoc. So, Donald Trump is in office either by God's permissive will or his perfect will. Now, he's doing that to test you, though. What you going to do about it? Lazy folks. Because the Bible says when man was asleep, the enemy came in and sowed tares among the wheat. Y'all was asleep. You said, I ain't watching that State of the Union address. I ain't watching. You don't watch the news, you watch reality TV. And so, you went to sleep. You woke up 8 years later. Now you're complaining. And then you still won't watch. You're heading for self-destruction, people. You did that to yourself. Self-infliction. So, if you over 18 years old and you got a voter's registration card, it's your opportunity to join the party. You want to save your house? You want to lower your taxes? You want to get some good health care? Because today on the news, Warren Buffett and some of these billionaires are coming together right now to see if they can form or start some new health care to offset or to correct what all this fighting going on with this Obamacare stuff. But most of you never even heard of it. You didn't see none of that on the news today, did you? No, you didn't. No. Why? Because you didn't want to. All right? I think it's time to wake up. Smell the flowers and the roses. Slow down. Read and be a little more informed, and you won't be asking folk, what did he say today? All right? So those of you who was watching Obama's address tonight in lieu of President Donald Trump's, you need to repent. Because I think that was a dumb move. Yeah, I said it, and you know I don't care. That was a dumb, stupid move. Ridiculous. And I don't think God is pleased with none of that. Because the kingdom, them folks, when the king came up and spoke, everybody had to be there. And those of you representatives in Congress, people who decide not to go to the address, really? Really? You grown. Really? What was that going to do? What did you prove? What did that prove? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about you people. I know it's bad. And it's just as bad as it was during the Obama administration when white folk was calling him. One white man, I played this on my show. He called on TV. He says he's such a pussy. He said that about his president, and nobody said nothing. And they called him nigger. They said he wasn't born here. He ain't no human. He's a radical Muslim. They called him everything for 8 years. And y'all, some of y'all complained. Now the reverse is happening. Your move. Yeah. All right. Your move. Because you being tested. And here's what I think the interpretation of all this is. Do you not know that everybody is susceptible to bigotry? Everybody. Every single last one of us was born with the ability to hate people. And when I accepted jury duty one year, I sat on that bench, and as they began to see who was going to serve for this case, the judge said something very interesting, and this was many years ago, about, 25 years ago. He said to us that was sitting there, he says, if any of y'all come up here and say that you ain't prejudiced, you're lying. He said everybody got some prejudice in them. And when he said that, I said, you know what? Amen. This man is in office to test what's inside of you. And some of y'all can't even look at his face on TV. You can't stand to hear his voice. That's saying something about you. God is testing you. And that little bitty hatred that y'all defended Obama against, that might just be inside of you. Clean it up. Straighten up and fly right. All right. I think I've done enough damage. Victoria Dubose, blessings to you. I spoke to her and nobody else spoke to me, so hi to the rest of y'all. How y'all is? Karen Peterson. Hi. How y'all is? Okay. Oh, David Brock. Blessings, man. I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. All right. That's all I got to say right now. Hit the share button. And if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Although I know YouTubers are getting ready to bury me tonight because all them Trump supporters getting ready to call me nigger and clown and all kind of stuff. Y'all watch. By tomorrow, this time, they're coming to crucify me. And I'm going to say, thank you. Can I please have another? Because as I always say, woe unto you when all men speak well of you. Enjoy it. That feels good. That means you're probably doing something good. Let's keep watching this man. Don't just accept anything because maybe God put him in office. No, it's your test of endurance to, well, see if you could just get a little more involved. Get down into the polls. Talk to your representative. Call your congressman. Say, hey, if you vote this way, I'm going to gather up all these people over here. And when it's time for you to run, you're going to lose your seat. You see how that works? You see? Because it's still today of the people, by the people, for the people. You pick up the phone. I got one right here. I usually pick it up in my shows, but it's over there. And say, Mr. Congressman, yes. I put you in office, yes. All right? I brought you in this world. I take you out. You know. You remember the show. And say, listen, you want that seat again in the midterm? Yes. Well, you see that 5,000 members I got over here at this church? Yes. I have an influence over there. So there's a bill on the floor. I need you not to touch that bill. Yeah. Say no. Okay. You got it? Yes. Thank you. See, because he represents you, of the people. And it was by these people. And it was for all these people. So you want to shut the mouth of the king in the Oval Office? Vote local. I just fixed your problem. PayPal.me/Sir Walter. Gimme. All right. Thank you, Agape. She says Walter for president. I actually voted for myself for this. I did. I showed y'all I did an illegal act, but I repented. But yeah, I voted for myself. 2 other people voted for me too because they told me they voted. All right, y'all. Oh, wait, we said good education. Amen. Thank you, Victoria. Carla says, I hear you, but I don't need to listen to 45 and his lies. I'm good. However, I am more engaged in politics now than I have been. So it's okay. Carla, one thing I will say about you, I love your honesty. When I watch him and I listen to him, I say, ugh. Because I have a preference as well. I'm like, ugh. Just, ugh. But it's not a of hatred. It's more like, ugh. You kind of getting on my nerves. Because your kids get on your nerve, but you don't hate them. No, you do not. You husbands who are married to your wife, sometimes they nag. You're like, oh, shut up. You don't hate the wife. You just tired of the nagging. And that's what I do when I hear President Trump talk. Sometimes I say, ugh, enough. Can you say something that I can agree with? You see what I mean? You could do that. Yes, you can. Put yourself up by your bootstraps. Say, you know what? I can't stand the way he talk, but let me hear his content. Okay, I had enough. And then come to the Sir Walter Jones Show and I can interpret it for you. How about that? We got an agreement? Well, praise Jesus. I love for you. What? I love for you. Yep. There's one man right there that voted for me. I told y'all somebody voted for me. Lonnie Hunter. I'm sorry. I said, Lonnie Hunter, he over there, he ain't here no more. Lonnie Newman voted for me as president. He showed me his ballot. So I know he voted for me. Yeah. Carla, amen. I know you don't hate him. There's no hatred in you. Just like there's no hatred in God, and you got the Spirit of God in you, I know ain't no hatred in you, Carla. I knows that for a fact. I can pick up the phone and call a few people, and they tell me, Carla? Oh, no. There's no hatred in her. What y'all's problem is? Gotta go. Y'all, go to bed and get up tomorrow morning, go to work, and stand by the cooler. And if anybody want to ask you, did you see the State of the Union address last night? Don't lie. Just say, I ain't see it, but I saw the Sir Walter Jones show. Here's the link. He'll tell you all about it. And then go on YouTube and watch the replay. Can you at least do that? All right. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Sir Walter Jones show.